guys, it's Amy. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're enjoying all the content as we're coming to the end of December. Today we're going to be talking about how I'm going to be using my Powersheets and MakseLife for 2022. So I'm kind of excited to try to use both. I've been using the Powersheets for 2 years. This would be year 3. I love the Powersheets because I love the prep work at the beginning and kind of getting a better idea of like what fires me up, and because that changes, and kind of where I'm at with everything. And I just like doing all the prep work and getting through and seeing if anything has changed from year to year. So I'm excited to do this. I'm also going to be using the MakseLife system. I always use the compass assessment when I'm doing my setups and my quarterly reviews in my Powersheets because I am not good at assigning myself like arbitrary numbers for on like a scale of 1 to 10 of how I'm doing with finances or how I'm doing with health. Because if I do it today and my finances are really good, I could give myself a 10, and I could do it tomorrow and I don't feel as good about my finances and I could give myself a 6. So with the compass assessment, it actually has some, like, it has like 8 questions per area, and you can give yourself a number based on those 8 questions and average it out, which I think is a much better representation of how I feel about different areas, rather than just assigning an arbitrary number, because I'm just not good at it. And it changes, maybe sometimes by the hour. So I've kind of used parts of MakseLife anyway. If you want to try using the compass assessment or try one of their layouts or anything, it is available on their website in their download section, like printables. So I'll kind of link the MakseLife's website down below, and you can head over there and download any of the printables. They have a ton of stuff in their website, and their motto is they just want you to achieve what you want to achieve for your life. So they make a lot of their stuff available as a printable that you could download and try the layout to make sure that you're getting the right system for you. So that is, I'm going to be using both. So I'm going to basically do the prep work and the Moxie setup for both, and then you like how I'm going to merge like the tinning lists, and then MakseLife has a monthly thing, and then they have like weekly action items, and then they have like a weekly reflection, and then there's a monthly reflection. And that's one thing that the Powersheets don't really have. They don't really have like a weekly or monthly reflection, and I like being able to jot down like how I thought the week went. I think that will give me a better idea and overview for the year. When I think back about the year, I can go back and like look at how I felt throughout the year with different things. So, and kind of my thoughts of how I'm going to use it. And then obviously I'll do an update probably around the end of Q1 of how it's going and just how the two systems are working together. If I've found anything that I thought I need to do that I'm doing differently, or things that aren't working with both systems, or any thoughts that I have on using the two systems together. All right, guys, so let's talk about how I'm going to use my Powersheets and my MakseLife Daily together. So this is the 3rd year that I'm using Powersheets, and I love the prep work and I love most of the system. One thing that I struggle with is the tending list. So I think, okay, so struggle is probably a strong word. I have no problem filling it out. I think what I struggle with is probably the reflection of the month and staying consistent on getting the action items done, especially the weekly items and the daily items. I just don't check in with them. So I think part of my problem is because it's in a separate book and it's not like in front of my face all the time. So what I did this year, that's something new I'm going to try, and I'm definitely going to keep you guys updated and let you know how it's going. But I did do the Cultivate Your Year Live that we talked about earlier, and I have done all the prep work and set up my goals, some big goals for the year. And now it's time to break those down. So we did the breakdown on Sunday in Lakin's, Sunday the 12th in Lakin's Patreon group, which was awesome and amazing. I got most everything done. There was a few things left that I kind of wanted to think about and go through before I finalized everything. So I did kind of these, I did this previously before I put it on here just to make sure that I didn't like totally miss something as I was thinking through things. But I did kind of this mind map here and kind of wrote down some ideas. And then some of the others, like this one, is for my business. I actually ended up using so I did the mind map and then I wrote more here to try to kind of break it down a little bit. And I think I struggle some with the action items that need to happen. Like, I know what I want to do, but until I sit down and really think about actions and start doing some research, I don't know what my steps are going to be. So that's another thing to kind of tackle with the annual goals. So my annual goals are set in here, and I am going to set up the tending list because I do like having it as like an overview of the stuff that I'm working on. So this gives me a place to kind of brainstorm and kind of think about the month ahead, because there is a page, in January called, it's in every month, but it's called Prepare Well, and it goes through important to-dos, what you're excited for, what's on your mind, and what you're hopeful that. And then you can kind of brainstorm some monthly, weekly, and daily action items, and then you can set up your tending list. So I think I'm still probably going to do this, but this is going to be more like a brainstorming page and kind of like an overview for the month. The main thing that I'm planning on doing is keeping up with everything in my MakseLife daily. So this is an A5, and it is a daily undated. So in the process of setting up my prep work, in between doing the prep work and doing Lakin's goal setting workshop, I actually redid the compass assessment. So I ended up doing it twice. I did that because I felt like some of my numbers were off, just because I was having a good day or a bad day or whatever. So I redid the numbers, and I definitely got some differences on my compass. So this is what my compass looks like right now. So the dots are where I kind of want to be, and you can see some areas need more work than others. And like this one's pretty good, but I want to do some more work. So I went through and filled out the assessment, and then I did my intentions page, and I came up with my word of the year to be confident. And while that's like one goal is to work on my self-confidence, I think it's confident in all areas. Like confident in decisions I make for my business, confident in decisions I make at my full-time job, confident that I'm doing what I need to do for my health and wellness, confident in my finances. So that started coming up more as I started thinking about it, but confident as my word for 2022. So then I started thinking about the goals and how I wanted to set them up before Lakin's session. So I worked in my Powersheets during that session, and then I sat down and wrote out, instead of these being annual goals, I kind of broke these into a focus for the quarter. So instead of saying annual, this should say quarterly goals. So since this is a 3-month book, I thought it would be better use for myself to have my annual goals in my Powersheets, have like the overarching like tending list to kind of guide my month of like things I thought about and brainstormed as I sat down and thought about things. Cause I have like I do it in Lakin's Patreon group, but we sat down for an hour or two, depending on if it's just a monthly or a quarterly refresh or that kind of thing. So we have time to sit down and kind of think about how the previous month went, how we're going, what we're going to set up. And she has some teaching moments that she does in there as well. So I sat down and thought, okay, what am I going to focus on for the first quarter? Now, this does not mean that I have to stick with this, because I actually texted with Lake and some, and I was like, I don't know what to start with. Like, that's kind of my problem, and I think I'm just overthinking it. So I wrote down some ideas of stuff that I thought would be good starting points for everything. So I basically ended up with a goal for each area of life, which seems like a lot, but some of it is just daily things or things I need to read or things I need to do. The one that's going to take up the most time is probably my business, and some things like my nutrition. Once I figure out what what my plan's gonna be, and if I'm gonna switch meal boxes and that kind of thing, then it's pretty much just execute. So there's some upfront stuff, but there's not a lot other than keeping up with it afterwards. So that's what I did for my annual goals. So these are just quarterly things. Then what I'm going to do is, I haven't done any vision boards yet. I think that's one thing I'm going to work on while I'm on vacation, is to like kind of sit with Pinterest or something and kind of come up with some ideas or things that I want to put on a vision board and then put it together when I get back. So I went ahead and put in and dated the first month in here, and then the other thing I'm going to do, so then when we get into the monthly goals, there's a couple of pages to write down your focus for the month and some ideas underneath that. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of take the quarterly and kind of pare it down and say, okay, so nutrition plan. So what, I need to do some research first. I need to look at some boxes. If I want to switch boxes, like which one do I want to try and that kind of thing. So more research-based kind of things probably for the first month. And then after you set up your monthlies, then you get a weekly actions page. And I think this will help me kind of break things down in each area as to what do I need to accomplish for the week. And I can also make sure that I'm not overcommitting, because I think that's part of the problem with setting up the tending list and not having anything laid out other than just on one page. I tend to overcommit, or I get super busy and I don't have time for it. So this way I can kind of see like, okay, what was my plan for the week, and look at it day by day and make sure that I'm pulling something off of there and getting that task accomplished. So that is kind of how I'm going to do this. Obviously, after I've done it for a few weeks, I can let you guys know how it's going. But for the weekly, you put your focus here on the page that is like the overview page. So you've got a place to put week of, focus, and then each day. And then you have daily spreads that you can put your focus in for the day and kind of like a top 3. You've got a place to put a schedule, a ton of to-dos, and then this blank section at the bottom with these 3 boxes will be probably more activity stuff. And I'm thinking this box maybe just like memory notes or things I need to carry to the next day that I think about, or, jot down something for work or whatnot. So it just depends on how my day goes as to what I write down in there. And then at the end of every week, you have this spread again where you can do your reflection for the week and set up your next weekly actions. So I think this is what I was missing kind of in the Powersheets system, is the reflection. There is no reflection. And I think that's part of when I struggle with a goal or struggle with how I did on actions or that kind of thing, like what's my progress. I think that's where I've struggled, is the reflection part, because there is a monthly reflections page in the Powersheets. It's called a month in review. And there are these boxes, and you fill in the boxes, which I have no problem with filling in the boxes, but I don't feel they're very, how do I word this? Substantial. So it's like, what or who I'm most grateful for. That one's fine. Good things this month. That one's good. What I read or listened to, is that really, if reading or listening to something is not on your goal, it's good to know what you were like listening to or working on, I guess. But if it's not directly related to a goal, it's more just like that's a fun box. Favorite memories from the month. That's always a good thing to write down. But I think most of us are have another way to do memories, right? Like we have a memory planner, or we keep notes somewhere, even if we don't put it in a separate planner. So that box is kind of eh. And then there's a goals that are growing well, which that one's a good thing to talk about. And then what's not working right now. So I think that's a little different than what was on here last year. And then saying no to and saying yes to. So there is some structure to this, but I feel like some of the boxes are like the one that's your favorite memories is big. Who or what I'm most grateful for is big. And then the goals that are growing well and the goals that are not working are these like smaller boxes. And I feel like those should be the bigger boxes. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I have not been as good about filling in the month in review. And there's also a page at the back for the year. And this for 2021, this was just a blank page. It didn't even have any months laid out. So I kind of forgot to go back and write them in. And then there's also a page for you to write in like your favorite memory, best new habit, song on repeat. And like that's hard to know for the whole year, right? I mean, like song on repeat, that's going to change every month for me, depending on, you know, like obviously now it's Christmas songs and in the summer it's something summer related. So I don't know. I don't want to say they're frivolous because they're not. They're good things, but I feel like for the goals that I'm working on, they're not as substantial, or I won't say substantial either. I don't really know the right word right this second, but they just don't feel like it's like the reflection isn't working for me. So I wanted to try Moxie because they have some extra things and some different questions, and I wanted to kind of try to marry the two systems because don't get me wrong, I love the Powersheets. This is my 3rd year and I wouldn't have done the prep work if I didn't enjoy the Powersheets. So the other thing is at the end of the month, so you've got your weekly reflections, and then at the end of the month, you've got a monthly reflection page. And I feel like this has more to it. So biggest wins, things that are currently working in my life, things that are currently not working, what I learned this month, what improvements or adjustments do I make going into the next month, what am I most grateful for right now, habits I want to nurture, area I want to focus on next month, and then rate like an overall satisfaction for the month. And it is a 1 to 10, but I feel like taking it like and chunking it down to a month and say, okay, well, how did I do? Did I do all my actions? Did I get the things done I wanted to get done? Then I can kind of give myself a score. I think life in general is kind of hard to do a score, but I kind of want to get into this and see how it works. I needed a daily planner anyway. I like my Erin Condren, but there's just not enough. There's too much schedule and not enough to-do list. That's where I'm at. I have my full-time job, my personal life, my small business, so I needed more space to be able to write in to-dos or break things down into smaller tasks. Like if I knew I needed to do something, I might need like, you know, a box for that. And then underneath I may need a couple of boxes to kind of break that down in a couple of steps. So that's where I'm at. And that's kind of my plan. I'm super excited to jump into this little guy. He's so cute. And I love this red color. I'm so glad that Sierra did a red, and I really hope she keeps this around because it really is a beautiful color. I do have a teal color that I'm going to do probably for March, April, January, February, March. The teal color will probably be April, May, June. And then I'll see if she comes out with some other colors. I will have to order 2 more because I only ordered 2. So I committed to like half the year, which is about how long I committed to my daily duo. I used the first book, which that one's 6 months, because it doesn't have as many pages as this guy. So I'm really hoping that this will help me kind of stay more focused, I guess, on the goals that I want to work on. So I've got like my overview that I can sit up here on my desk of like, this is everything kind of in a list and like a shortened version. And then this will be like I think Sierra called it like her daily workhorse, which that's what this will be. And I can kind of break things down more in this. So that's kind of my plan for using both systems together. All right, so I hope you enjoyed seeing the two planners kind of side by side and my thoughts about how I'm going to use them in 2022. I'm definitely going to be taking my MakseLife Daily and my Powersheets with me while I'm on vacation so that I can kind of work through getting them set up for January and hopefully keeping both systems going for all year. This is crazy. I've used the Powersheets and filled them out completely for 2 years in a row, which is kind of mind-blowing because I haven't stayed in a planner that long in a long time. So hopefully with the MakseLife Daily and the Powersheets, I can stay in them for an entire year and have everything all in one place because that just makes me happy. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. Catch all the new content that I have for the rest of December and throughout 2022. And if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them. Bye. Hope you guys have a great day.